SEC v Ripple, what's going to happen? How does this affect XRP, and how does this affect crypto?
If there is a ruling saying that at the time this was the market guidance and the average purchasers of XRP did not have the expectation of profit based on Ripple, that sets precedent, that sets case law, and that allows other cryptocurrencies to lean on that same exact defense.
This case is crucial for crypto's future and raises questions about its future operations in America. Growing up, it was always pitched to me, America being this great place where innovation happens. Is this scary for you with how the United States government is handling cryptocurrencies?
Absolutely, and I think we're taking a lot of this innovation that's happening right now in the United States, and we're going to be driving it offshore with this kind of behavior.
It seems the US government is okay with pushing our greatest tech innovation since the internet abroad.
I hope that we do come to some sort of resolution. I hope that our lawmakers, because this is their responsibility, keep as much as it here in America. Otherwise, we're going to be backpedaling and trying to pull it back offshore. But once it's out of the box, it's really hard to pull it back in.
All right, Maddie, welcome back to the Ask Maddie Show. Maddie, how are you feeling?
I'm doing excellent. Ready to talk about crypto, answer your guys' questions.
I am also ready to talk about crypto, but as per last show, we are doing a giveaway. And to enter that giveaway, all you have to do is like and comment CC in the comment section. This giveaway will enter you for a year's worth of crypto charge, a membership to our platform, our education platform, so you can stay ingrained in crypto. But before we get into the show today, because we got a lot of great comments, great questions, there's a lot going on. Binance, Coinbase getting sued by the SEC. The Hinman emails also came out today, Maddie, which is, I know Maddie wants to talk about that. But before we get into that, become a Crypto Charge member. Click the link in the pin comment below. That'll take you directly to our website. Also, shop.cryptocharge.com. Get some swag. Maddie's got no swag today. What are we doing, Maddie? But the last thing here, team, is make sure you subscribe to the channel. I saw this ugly graphic pop up on my YouTube. It's a terrible analytic, and it says 77% of the people that watch this show are not subscribed. So, team, please subscribe. That greatly helps us. But now we are going to get into the show, your hot takes, your questions, all those good things. Maddie, are you ready?
Let's do it.
ETHUSD for BTC USD says it's pretty weird timing for the SEC to be suing Binance and Coinbase. Don't you think?
Once you've been in crypto as long as I have, I think if you get through one full cycle, one through full bear market, one full bull market, you kind of just become desensitized to a lot of everything, and the timing of everything doesn't seem so uncanny anymore. It doesn't seem that odd anymore. John Deaton, who's one of the big attorneys that's been covering the SEC v Ripple case nonstop. So big shout out to John Deaton. If you guys aren't following crypto law and John Deaton, please go give that man a follow, because he does so much work, absolutely free of charge. He's also representing over 100,000 of us in the XRP community right now. But he actually predicted last year that he thought one of the major U.S. exchanges were going to get sued by the SEC. So we actually got the back-to-back suing, right? We had the enforcement action against Binance, and the exact following day we had the SEC enforcement action against Coinbase, alleging them not only of being an unregistered securities exchange, but selling unregistered securities, and named very specific assets in there, an enormous amount of assets. And somebody jokingly said, hey, I think they went to the Coinbase front page and just did a copy and paste and said, these are all unregistered securities, right? And it's really just absolute nonsense. So, I think that personally, from a timing standpoint, that we are getting close to the tail end of the bear market here. I think this is probably one of the uglier events that's coming towards the end of the bear market. And generally, bear markets are marked by very negative sentiment. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. So, I think that we're going to probably see some sort of collaborative effort between Coinbase and Binance, and maybe even Ripple here, to pool together resources, pool together evidence to try to create some sort of comprehensive case to say, hey, here's what we all try to do during this time period to come into compliance, because the SEC says, hey, all you have to do is come in and register. Everyone shows you that it's actually impossible. You cannot fill out the forms that they're asking you to fill out because the asset class is so new, and it literally does not fit in these boxes. And not just because we artistically want to put ourselves in this separate camp of people that doesn't have to comply with securities laws. You just cannot take what is the characteristics of a public blockchain and cram them into the square peg that is a security, right? So I think that we have probably ugly litigation ahead of us, but I think this ends with a settlement. I don't think this ends with, 100% fireworks, Binance, Coinbase, scotch-free. I think that they get some sort of settlement where they pay some sort of, disgusting fee that nobody wants to see them pay, but it ends up with, a no wrongdoing clause of some sort where they get to walk away from this without having to, dissolve their businesses, and customers get to keep their funds. So, ugly right now, we still have a long road ahead of us, I believe, but that's the kind of settlement or outcome that I think that we come out to.
Maddie, you talking right now just kind of like struck a chord in me. I was just thinking about like growing up, it was always like pitched to me, America being this great place where innovation happens, land of the free, home of the brave, all those goodies. Is this scary for you with how America, or I guess the United States government, is handling cryptocurrencies right now?
Absolutely. And I think we're taking a lot of this innovation that's happening right now in the United States, and we're going to be driving it offshore with this kind of behavior to the point where, I know that Jeremy Hogan, who's another attorney that's done enormously great work on this case and covering and giving us a lot of insights onto what to expect and what all this, very intense legal jargon means is, he has people approach him because of, the kind of content he puts out there. They say, hey, I want to start up a blockchain company, or, I have this idea for a blockchain or for this token or for this coin or whatever. How do I go about this without being sued, right? How do I go about this with, and still build here in America? And he tells them, the reality is you're going to have a much safer and easier journey going to the Caymans or to other countries that have more clear framework, so that you have a lesser chance of being sued, right? And that's really what everybody wants to know is like, you don't want to go out there and raise all this VC money and put all this time and development into research and, have potentially some incredible intellectual property that all gets dissolved because of an SEC enforcement action. And that's unfortunately what we saw with the library case. And, I think that's the only reason that we don't see Ripple in the same position is because they are so well armed with cash right now. They're sitting on about $1 billion in cash. They spent hundreds of millions already on the suit. But a smaller company like Library, for example, doesn't have that same amount of resources, right? You have, on the other end, though, this government entity that just has, billions of dollars to blow, at any given moment, and attorneys that are, state ordained attorneys, they're going to bleed them dry. And that's essentially what ended up happening. They ended up actually only extracting from Library like $100-something thousand in penalties because that's all they could actually end up giving them because that's how broke they ended up being. So, I hope that we do come to some sort of resolution. I hope that our lawmakers, because this is their responsibility, to create some sort of framework so that Gensler and all these other SEC individuals can't go rogue and, do whatever they want. Keep as much as of it here in America. Otherwise, we're going to be backpedaling and trying to pull it back offshore. But once it's out of the box, it's really hard to pull it back in.
1234 Nor says, Gary Gensler said we already have enough digital currencies. Why would we then need CBDCs per his commentary?
At this point, I really couldn't care less about Gary Gensler's opinion on anything. And, like I've said at the end of the day, Gary Gensler does not decide what is and what is not a security. He doesn't have any really actual say in the development of a CBDC or how many digital currencies we need. He is, just a politician really at the end of the day if we really think about it. And like I've made the comparison before, right? A police officer says you're guilty of this. It doesn't mean that you're guilty. You're just being accused of that, right? So, when we talk about we have enough digital currencies, right? First of all, every currency that we have right now is already digital in some way or another, right? Like we all trust the digital representation of our money more than paper money, right? Like we're not making any sort of large, meaningful purchases with cash money. You might use some if you go to Las Vegas or you have some to tip at a restaurant, or you're going to an establishment that is cash only, but we're talking about maybe a few $100s at most, right? Like all of your major bills and everything are paid using digital currency, give or take, right? You're trusting that those ones and zeros are all going to be balanced and all those private ledgers on Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America are true and valid, right? So we're just trusting digital representation already. But if you think about it, the US dollar and the euro and the pound and the yen, they're all doing the exact same thing, right? They're trusting the digital representation in their bank accounts. So CBDCs, and again, not to confuse CBDCs with crypto, CBDCs are central banks for digital currencies. Those are just connecting and creating interoperability and potentially lowering the barrier of entry through the FX markets to bridge those currencies together, right? Now, CBDCs can leverage digital assets like XRP, for example, to make those payments more efficient. They can leverage other blockchains. They can leverage other digital assets. So, I think it's a really bold statement to say, hey, we already have more than one digital currency, right? We already know that the stablecoin market continues to grow and grow and grow, especially something like USDC and USDT that have those reserves attestation reports and are continuously profitable quarter after quarter, right? I don't think that his opinion of, enough digital currencies changes the fact that that we are continuing to grow and that need changes over time, right? We're also seeing right now a lesser dependency on the US dollar. We're seeing BRICS countries, so essentially pretty much anything that's not America, the MENA region, stepping away from the dollar right now, settling in other currencies. So I think that a lot of these cries for, hey, we have enough currencies right now, is more cries of desperation because they have this fear that, we're losing our status as a superpower here in the US. But I digress there, get a little bit off my soapbox, but I think it's a very complex issue that he's trying to attack with one very simple sentence.
A2009 says, where do you buy your Zcash?
So I do most of my purchasing on KuCoin, but you can actually just buy Zcash right on Coinbase. It's not like an asset that's hard to find. I buy it right on Coinbase just because there's no reason for me to necessarily buy it on KuCoin. I can just buy it there once it's seasoned, rip it right back to cold storage, one less step, save myself a little bit on those fees. So you guys can just buy it right on Coinbase if that's available to you.
Maddie, for I guess the common crypto investor here, I know you talk a lot about your Zcash price targets. What would it mean for someone to because obviously Zcash is at $25 right now on TradingView chart. It's at $25 right now. Zcash is at $25. What would it mean for someone to start buying up some Zcash right now?
If this is your first exposure to even think about buying Zcash, you are ahead of 99% of investors already, because unless you bought in 2019 at the lows or bought it 2020 at the lows, you did not have the price that you're seeing today. So you are already capitalizing on multi-year lows by starting your Zcash investing journey now. So, you're getting the best possible cost basis. I do have, limits down in the $15 to $18 region. Would love to get those filled if offered. There's wicks previously that suggest those prices could be revisited again. But starting your DCA right now is putting you in a ridiculously advantageous position if you want to get into Zcash.
Love that, Maddie. I thought this was a funny comment. Boogie Yaga says, don't be scared to lock in some profit, guys. You lock in any profit, Maddie?
Not any profit locking right now. Took a little bit of Casper off the table when we were up a little over 6 cents. Took some XRP off the table up there in that 52, 53 cent region and bought some of that back. But, again, this is kind of a personal evaluation, right? Like if you are in profit and you feel like, it's a good spot to take some chips off the table, or you're overexposed, or you went a little too heavy and there's some profits to be had and you want to, reduce some of that exposure, it's never a bad idea to take some profit. But from the grander perspective, I think we're still kind of in an accumulative phase right now, and the opportunity for purchases in DCA is really more afoot than profit taking right now. So if you're in a position where you've picked up Bitcoin at $6,000 or $5,000 or something, and you're telling yourself, hey, I think this is going to come down to $18,000, and we're trading around $24,000 right now, it's not a terrible idea. But I don't think that's the position that most people are in.
Maddie, how do you keep that long-term vision on an asset yet still take profits on that asset? What's the best balance within that?
Yeah, so if you're going to be taking profits intra-cycle, meaning you're going to be, anticipating some sort of cycle top, you're estimating some sort of cycle bottom, and, within those cycle tops and cycle bottoms, or estimated tops and bottoms, you're going to have different levels of support and resistance within there. So if we are in a period of extreme bullishness, or we see large impulsive candles or a retracement, which is something I am anticipating for later this year still, and you see that your price is significantly above your cost basis, it's not a terrible idea to maybe reduce at least your initial investment out of that, take that as profit, so that when price does come back down and we know that it's going to set a higher low, that's what a healthy uptrend should do, establish a series of higher highs and higher lows, that you're able to use some of that dry powder to buy back in and increase your overall position. So that's how I kind of manage it, is I still, tell myself, hey, you're going to let go of 60, 70, 80% of your bag at XYZ targets. But until we get to XYZ, are there opportunities before we get to XYZ to increase our overall position without adding additional fiat? And the answer is usually yes. Right now, I don't really see that opportunity. Again, it's going to be based on your personal, cost basis there. It's going to be dependent on when you got in. It's going to be dependent on, what your tolerance is. But, overall right now, I think that it's really more of a buying opportunity, especially with things like Cardano and Matic and a lot of things, and VeChain, a lot of things that really got their teeth kicked in over the weekend, kind of catching up with that Coinbase Binance news.
Love that, Maddie. Last question here. The question Maddie was waiting for: how to make friends in a hospital. Hinman docs just got released. Is the SEC certified scammers?
Yes. Short answer, yes. They are certified scammers. You know, at the end of the day, like the entire point behind the SEC is to protect investors. That's like the number one block of their, you know, foundational understanding of what they're supposed to be funded for is to protect investors, right? It's in the mission statement. And, you know, like what happened when the SEC sued Ripple? Price depreciated significantly, right? Like my investment was doing fine until the SEC got involved. There was actually zero issues with my investment until the SEC got involved, right? And since then, we definitely have seen suppression, right? We definitely saw a nice run up. It still moved with the rest of the market through, you know, the 2021 cycle, but no all-time high, right? And I do think that was because of the lack of exchanges offering it. I think that it was due to the regulatory pressure. A lot of people are afraid to touch it. A lot of people don't even know that you can buy XRP still here in the United States. You know, like they log into their Coinbase account and they're like, oh, it's not there. That's it. I'm done. Right. And like that's fine. That's what the average consumer does. But, you know, Hinman docs just got released. You know, there's a lot in those docs that are confirming the things that we already hypothesized. So a lot of the things that we were, you know, hypothesizing was that there were multiple drafts circulated of the speech before it was given. Right. And the whole premise of what they were trying to defend here is that the Hinman speech that was given in 2018 was Bill Hinman's personal opinion. It was not his opinion of corporate finance, which was the, you know, section that he was overseeing during that time. It was Bill Hinman's personal opinion. But if you have a personal opinion about something, you generally aren't going to be spending SEC resources and having attorneys look it over, and then them also pointing out things in the speech like, you know, don't make this comparison, don't mention Ethereum in here at all. Make sure that you tie this back to the Howey test, right? Don't make up your own rules, which is what Bill Hinman did. He literally just made up his own rules, told the market this is how we approach digital assets, and then the SEC slapped it up on their website. It's still there, by the way. You guys can go check it out. It's still up there as basically like digital asset guidance. So, you know, what this really does for us, and this is not just for Ripple now. Now, the timing is almost great that the Hinman documents got released right after Binance and Coinbase got sued, because it gives them the exact same defense that Ripple has now, right? They can lean on the fact that, hey, not only do we have guidance, Bill Hinman knew what he was doing, giving that guidance, and knew exactly what it would be doing to the market. It also showed that he communicated with Vitalik Buterin just before this to confirm what he thought about Ethereum, and then gave that as public advice essentially on CNBC for the average consumer to receive, right? And again, I've talked about this many times. 99% of the public doesn't even know what people are talking about on CNBC, right? They see the numbers, they see the stocks going up and down, they go, okay, that sounds good. Hopefully I should buy this. Maybe Jim Cramer will give me some advice, right? They're sure as hell not like digesting all of this legal jargon of what Bill Hinman's talking about, other than the fact of Ethereum is decentralized, it's not a security, right? Like that's all they're interpreting. So why would the average person who does not have a law degree, you know, assume that anything similar to Ethereum, that sounds anything like Ethereum, it's crypto, it's decentralized, why would they think that it's an unregistered security, right? Why would they think that Ripple or any other company has the inherent responsibility to provide them, you know, a profit, right? They have some sort of responsibilities to increase the price of XRP over time. And it's also been proven, right, that, you know, first of all, company employees of Ripple receive shares of Ripple. You know, they don't receive XRP as part of their compensation. You know, Ripple's profits have done really, really well year after year. Even with this lawsuit, XRP price has moved with the rest of the crypto market. There's a clear distinction between Ripple's efforts and the price of XRP, and the price of XRP moves continuously with the rest of the market, not with the efforts of Ripple. So, you know, I know we touched on a lot of points there, and it's you know, a lot of history to try to compact in a very short segment here. But I do think this is a huge, huge win, even though I know that price didn't do what I think it didn't do what everyone expected it to do, but I do think that this sets us up for a much bigger win across the board for crypto, not just for XRP and Ripple.
So, Maddie, yes. So the next logical question here is, how do you foresee that playing out? How do you say this playing out for the rest of crypto? Because just like you said, this really matters here. This case really does matter.
Right. So I've talked previously about the potential outcomes for Ripple, and you know, I think that everyone's looking for the full out fireworks. Ripple wins. XRP is not a security. No dollars are paid. You know, and I'd love that happy ending. You know, that Deus Ex Machina ending, but I just don't think we're going to get that particular set of circumstances. I think that we get like this hybrid ruling where, Maybe it gets pushed out a little further. Maybe they give a ruling, but, Judge Torres sets it up so that it can be appealed, and it's appealed by a higher circuit. But also, some sort of settlement is paid so that Ripple can continue to move forward in the short term. I do believe that the individual lawsuits against Garlinghouse and Larson are dismissed. That's just my personal feeling about it. I think that those cases are very, very weak. And those are, really, really separate. I don't think a lot of people care about those so much. But if there is a ruling that supports the fair notice defense, specifically saying that at the time, this was the market guidance and the average participants and purchasers of XRP did not have the expectation of profit based on Ripple. That sets precedent, and that sets case law, and that allows other cryptocurrencies to lean on that same exact defense, right? It's not just, hey, this is what's actively happening in another case and we hope it pans out this way. Here's the exact ruling, and we're going to reference this as evidence and support in our own case here. So it really sets up the rest of the industry to be able to lean on that ruling. And I do hope that we get some sort of, advantageous ruling for Ripple. I don't think it's perfect. We get 75% of the way there. Great.
I love to hear that, Maddie. I'm really glad you've been covering this, and you usually cover this like every single day on our website, on the live show we do every single day there. And I'm really interested to see, because I guarantee you Maddie's going to go very in detail on this on the show today. I'm already excited for that, but I had to bring him in over here. I'm like, Maddie, give me some over here. But Maddie, thank you for sharing all those things there. I'm really excited for the rest of the year in crypto here. A lot of things are going to play out. I am super excited for those things. How would you say, I wanted to ask this earlier, I'll bring it back here, going back to Binance and Coinbase, as that was big news of last week. Are those exchanges safe?
So I'm going to just come back to the stance that I've always had on exchanges. Exchanges are marketplaces. You go to a marketplace to do your business. Once you've conducted that business, you leave the marketplace, right? If you're going to go buy a watch somewhere in the Diamond District, you're not going to go buy the watch, leave the watch there, and then go pick it up later, right? You're going to take that watch home. You're not going to go to the grocery store, buy a bunch of groceries, leave them there, and then come get the groceries as you need them, right? You're going to take that shit home. So I approach exchanges the exact same way. I onboard my fiat, I buy my assets, even if it's stable coins, take them back to cold storage. When I need to do business again, I bring those coins back on an exchange, do my business, and then leave the exchange, right? So treat those marketplaces as such. There's really no inherent benefit to trusting a centralized exchange other than the convenience factor of not having to keep your seed phrases safe. So, you guys can operate how you feel comfortable. I saw what happened to people in FTX. I saw what happened to people in Celsius. I saw what happened to people in Voyager. It's heartbreaking. There's absolutely nothing you can do in retrospect other than say, I wish I had did something different, right? So now that you guys have all of this information and you guys have seen everything that's happened and you still continue to use a centralized exchange, you're kind of just telling yourself, I hope that the odds that have proven themselves to be true over and over again are not against me this time. And I'm not going to be in that camp of people. I'm not going to be a victim, and I refuse to be one. So I hope you guys choose to not be victims as well and use cold storage.
I like how you're preaching for cold storage to be the standard, Maddie. And, as we've gone on, it made sense in the beginning. You've been saying since day one cold storage, and then we got to see everything roll out. And then it's like, oh my gosh, you couldn't have been more on the head with that, and that's crazy how you're just talking about hope it's not going to be me next. And that ends up being everyone, right, Maddie?
Right. Absolutely. It's always, I don't think it's going to happen to me until it happens to you. And then, there's literally nothing you can do about it other than just wish it wasn't you.
Right. Well, Maddie, I love this show. This was a great show today. Team, again, like this video, like this show, and comment in the comment section, CC. That will enter you in the giveaway we're doing here. But that is all we have for today, team. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, see ya.